Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. I'm excited to introduce our new guest, not really such a new guest, reoccurring guest, friend of the show, friend of mine. Watched him grow up, watched him play football at LSU for a couple years. He had some incredible moments. Former LSU wide receiver, now current TCU wide receiver, Jack Bech. Jack, thanks for joining the show, man. We talked a little bit off air. You put your name in the portal. You're kind of explaining to me off air how this works. You enter the portal and they basically become a high school recruit again, right? You go in the portal, teams can kind of court you, they can entertain you, you can figure out where you want to go, and you make that decision. That's kind of how it works?
Yeah, you first thing you do is you go talk to who you need to talk to within the organization. You have those conversations. After that, you sign a couple of papers, and like you said, you become a high school recruit all over again with official visits, unofficial visits, phone calls, FaceTimes, whatever it may be.
Before we really get into why you transferred and those types of things, I want to talk a little bit about your time here at LSU. Obviously you're here for a couple of years. You've obviously had some incredible moments. You grew up in Lafayette, right down the road. You had family members play football at LSU, so this is a place that you obviously wanted to be. Talk about your time here, and talk about some of the moments that you're probably always going to cherish with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, there's been so many moments and good times I've had at LSU. It still kind of feels weird to me knowing I won't be here next year just because, I've always wanted to be here, dream school. But yeah, no, definitely UCLA, first game, Rose Bowl, touchdown against Alabama is something I'll always remember at Bama. And all just the friendships and memories I made with all the guys in the locker room, out on the field, away from football, I made a lot of really good friends, through being at LSU that I couldn't be more thankful and be more appreciative of. So those are a couple of moments, but it was really the whole thing. I had one of the best times of my life being at LSU. And yeah, there's just so many different memories and instances that I could name. But those are probably the main ones.
What was it like in the wide receiver room? You had a bunch of talented guys. Obviously, when you go to a school like LSU, you're going to have talent. You're going to have talent everywhere. You're not a stranger to competition. That you thrive on competition. That's something that, as an athlete, everybody wants is competition. And you go into a wide receiver room that has a lot of competition, a lot of depth, a lot of talent. What was the vibe in the wide receiver room? What's the relationship like between you and some of the other receivers? Not just you in particular, but really all of the receivers. And how do you navigate that? And how was the feeling in the room?
Yeah, no, me and all the guys, it doesn't matter who it is. Those are going to be my guys, for life. We've been through a lot together. No, those are all my, some of my best friends. And like I said, I'll cherish those memories for a lifetime. No, it was awesome. There was so much competition. Everybody was getting each other better every day. And no, we have a really good room there. They're getting a couple more guys that are going to add, that are going to be, make a huge impact this upcoming season. And yeah, like you said, definitely the reason for me leaving is not because we had a deep wide receiver room. Competition and all that is kind of what made me the player I am today. So that's definitely not it. Like I said, those are all my boys for life. Anything they need, I told them I'm always called away. They said the same thing. So yeah, no, definitely not the reason. Like I said, competition is kind of what built me and made me who I am. It's kind of put those things in me, all those, things like grit, that we always talked about. So yeah.
What you talked about, that's not the reason. What is part of the reason why you decided to make that change? Because, the conversations that we've had, you've talked about it not being a very easy decision, something that you really didn't want to do, but felt like it was probably in the best interest of you as an athlete and to further your career. So go in depth a little bit about why you decided to make that move and why did you choose TCU?
Yeah. Well, first, I've kind of heard the small talk about me having a concussion or something like that in fall camp, and that's why I didn't play the first couple of games that much. I've never been diagnosed with a concussion before in my whole life. Neither I really have a head injury. That wasn't it. And then a lot of people say I was hurt all season, my leg. That wasn't it either. I missed probably about 7 to 10 practices in fall camp, and after that I was 100% clear to go. We had a really good plan in place. I was 100% all season. I finished out against Georgia, so that wasn't either. I'm really happy I got to play at my dream school. I got to do what I've always wanted to do. I just think that sometimes, you have to do things you don't want to do. And I think this was one of them. Like I said, it's still weird knowing I will be, a Tiger next year. So yeah, and like we were kind of talking about the competition piece, I've never been scared of competition as long as everybody kind of starts the race at the same point. And I just, I kind of felt like I wasn't always just getting that opportunity. Obviously, I went back to kick returner, punt returner, and try to get the ball in my hands. But at the end of the day, I'm a wide receiver. I want to play wide receiver. I want to score a touchdown. I want to make impacts in a game at the wide receiver position. And I don't know, I just felt like sometimes I wasn't getting that opportunity. And that kind of played a part of leaving, just because I know, in order to get to the NFL, which is my main goal and which has been my dream since I could ever remember, I feel like I have to be at a place that really wants to give me the ball, wants to get me involved, and wants me to be a big part of their offense. Because you kind of saw a glimpse of it last year. I know I can do it. I know I'm built for it. Obviously, I did it at the highest level last year. I'm really excited to be going to TCU, to be able to make an impact whenever I get there, and to hopefully run it back to what they're doing this year. They're on an incredible run right now. A couple of the reasons I chose them is, one, it's not too far. I went to the portal looking for opportunities. Some people may go in wanting more money or things like that, but I was going in looking for an opportunity. I just wanted to play ball. I just want to. This was probably the least amount of football I played since I was 7, 8 years old. So it just was itching me to get on the field and catch balls and make plays. Like I said, I just felt like I really wasn't getting that opportunity to do it. And back to TCU, I love their receiver coach. I love all their coaches, really. Love Coach Dykes.
He likes to sling the rock, bro. He likes to sling the rock.
Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah, they're an air raid offense, so I'm super excited to know that we'll be throwing the ball a lot every game. Like I said, it's an air raid. They have a really good plan about how they're going to use me. And I just felt it worked. And then, like I said, I love the color purple, so that was another reason I had to stay in that purple.
No doubt.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited about this new opportunity. Go meet some new people, make some new connections, be in an awesome city like Fort Worth near Dallas. And I already know a couple guys on the team. So I just felt like it's a good spot for me to be, to play some high competition football still. But to also, build some of those new connections out of state. And yeah, it's like I say, it's weird for me leaving, but I feel like at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. You can't really listen to the people on the outside, because they don't really know what happens, day in, day out. They don't hear or feel what you feel. So, yeah.
You mentioned going back to the returner position, right? I mean, I imagine I didn't watch a ton of your high school games, even though I showed you went to my alma mater. I'd imagine that you did some punt returning and kick returning at St. Thomas More. So you mentioned going back to the return game to get the ball in your hands to make some more plays. Was that decision between you and Brian Kelly? Did he come up to you to ask him? Did you go up to him and say, "Hey, I can do this"? What went into that decision to put you back there to return punts and kicks?
That was really just them. I never did kick returns before, but I did a couple punt returns in high school. Never kicked though. And like I said though, at the end of the day, like I want to be on the field at the wide receiver position.
Right.
I don't want to be like obviously. Don't get me wrong. Every opportunity I get to have the ball in my hands, I'm going to take it. That's why I was like 100%. Let's do it. But at the end of the day, I'm a receiver.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I want to be on the field, the receiver, making catches and scoring and helping my team out blocking, helping my team out in any way I can from that standpoint. And I just felt like, I wasn't really getting that chance to do that.
You know, part of an athlete, right? Part of somebody who plays at a high level is, they talk about being unselfish and doing things for the team and trying to win games, right? And what I saw from you is you want to be on the field and you want to do anything that you can do to help the team win, whether that be punt returns, whether it be kick returns, whether that be moving to tight end. But at the end of the day, you know what you're best at, and that's being a wide receiver, right? That's like playing, basketball and saying, hey, I'm better at a point guard, but if you need me to play off guard, I can do that. But my strength is at point guard. Your strength is at wide receiver. Do you feel like sometimes whenever you say, I'm going to do everything that I can to win, some coaches, not necessarily LSU coaches, but coaches in general may say, okay, well, this guy, we can put him here because we know he's capable of doing anything he can do, and he's going to help our team win, even though that means sacrificing what makes you really good, and that's playing the wide receiver position. You played tight end your freshman year because out of necessity, right? They said you're going to play wide receiver this year, moving forward, and you didn't really get all that much time at the wide receiver position. So what are your feelings on that? Obviously you never want to be selfish, you want to be humble, and you want to be, a team player, which you are. But sometimes, I felt that way when I was an athlete. Sometimes that puts you in a position where, hey, we can just tell him to do whatever he wants, and he'll do it because that's the kind of person he is. Did you kind of feel that way?
What exactly do you mean by that?
So
I'm trying to get a grasp.
So
of the
basically
question.
some people oh no, I'm just gonna play wide receiver, that's all I am. Other people are open to saying, oh yeah, put me wherever you want me to put me, even if it means playing out of position, because I'm gonna do whatever we need to do to win, right? But at the end of the day, guys like that are unselfish that will do that. Sometimes it's easier.
Taking advantage of
Yeah, sometimes it's easier, not taking advantage necessarily, but sometimes it's easier to say, okay, this guy can do it because he's shown that he can do it and he's willing to do it, as opposed to saying, I'm going to put him back at wide receiver. Almost like they got too comfortable. People get too comfortable seeing you doing something else, even though that's not your strength, so to say.
I guess it's a question for the coaches.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't really know. I really didn't even think into it that much. They just told me to go do it. And
No doubt. And that's a testament to you, though. You know what I mean? Like that's just, that's a testament to you. That's a good thing to do. Now, obviously, go ahead.
And again, it was towards I can't tell you exactly what game because I don't remember, but whenever I knew, for sure, I wasn't going to be getting those chances I wanted on offense, I wanted to go. We talked, and I was like, let's just get me on special teams, and not return, but on punt return, kick return, whatever. But being just playing on the line or I was because I just want to get on the field, and try to help our team win in any way, shape, or form. So then that's why I started kind of playing towards the end of the season on special teams, not returner, but helping the returners try to make plays and all that.
Was there ever any conversation about you moving back to tight end? Because it obviously with a Mike Denbrock offense, and you see what they want to do with two tight end sets. And I know, obviously, I feel like you're kind of setting yourself up for the NFL. You want to say, I'm a wide receiver. But when it comes to LSU, a place that you want to be, it seems like there could have been a spot for you at tight end. But at some point, you had to kind of make a call for yourself. Is that fair to say?
They never asked me, whenever they really came in, there really was no talk about tight end.
Okay.
So the question was never asked, or we never talked about it or anything like that.
Part of, another thing I really want to kind of dive into, right? Because this, every athlete, no matter what sport they play, they go through some type of adversity, right? Whether that adversity ends up shaping them to become the player they are, right? Nobody goes through a career where everything's perfect and everything is just, they do everything perfectly right and they have super success, right? part of growth as an athlete is going through those failures and that adversity, right? You had to go through some of that this year, right? They put you at a position that you weren't familiar with, punt return, kick return, and you had a couple of miscues at those positions. Everybody has them. Everybody goes through them. Every athlete does that. That is the natural occurrence of sports, right? Everyone does it. I've gone 0 for 34 in Major League Baseball and not gotten a hit in 34 straight at bats. Everybody goes through failure, but it makes you better in the long run. What did you learn from yourself through those situations, and how did you handle it, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, no, I've learned a whole lot, and I can't wait for next year. Cause, like I said, I'm itching. I feel like I'm just gonna explode. I can't wait. I know it's in me, and it's just waiting to come out. And that's what I was telling the coaches at TCU. I was like, whenever we get on that field, I was like, y'all are gonna know me as being this I'm like, when I come in I'm talkative or whatever, I come in and it's just
you're very energetic. You're very energetic.
Put this the way I'm trying to put it is I don't really think anybody who would have anywhere I would have chosen to go, I don't really think they know really what they're getting, as a player on the field. You know what I mean? I don't think they know what I really can do because they haven't seen me do it in person. So I mean, I'm ready to go and just ball out. And obviously, one of my goals is to be All-American. So can't wait to get on that path. But like you said, one, I've learned sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. And also I've heard that, I've learned that I feel like you have to go through things like this, like you said, adversity, because nothing in life that's great comes from doing easy things. You have to do things that are hard in order to become great at whatever you're doing. You have to put in the work, you have to put in the time. You have to do all the small things right, and sometimes you just have to make those big boy choices, knowing that it's going to better you in your future, and that's just what I did. Like I said, I'm just super excited to go give everything I have to TCU and this new program that I'm going to call home. I'm just, like I said, super excited to just give them everything in me.
Obviously, you can see in the background of the video call, you can see the LSU placard back there. You're an LSU guy. It seems like you grew up an LSU fan. When it gets down to it, how hard was this decision for you? Obviously, you're it feels like one of us. I grew up from Louisiana. If I happened to be 6'2", 220 pounds, that would be great. I'd love to have played for LSU too. But it feels like you have that same passion you're almost a fan of the program. So how hard was it to make the decision to leave?
At first it was pretty hard. Just because the only thing we know is purple and gold and LSU football because we grew around it our whole life and we go play there. But the more I dove into the process and the more people, the more people I met along the way and the more places I saw, I know there's other places that offer some really amazing things. And so, like I said, at first it was difficult, but the more I've done it, and the more I've grown in this process this past week or two, it's really helped me because I feel like at the end of the day, I made my decision. I'm leaving. I'm not looking back. And now, I'm just super excited to get to TCU and start this new chapter in my life. So, at first it was difficult, but now it's I'm ready to, like I said, give my all to TCU. And hopefully make another run like they're doing this year.
Was it always TCU? Was it always going to be TCU, or did you have some other schools that were really fighting for you and that you really made your decision a little bit harder?
Yeah. So
I don't know if you want to say that or not, but
yeah, no, yeah. So if you looked at me, and my social media, I felt like a lot of people thought I really wasn't getting offered by that many people because I just completely stayed off social media. But the day I entered the portal, I heard from every school in the nation from Georgia to McNeese State and everything in between.
Right.
Like, name a school, probably talk to them. And I just felt like there was no need to post
Yep.
and,
I respect that.
Let everybody know, like, what's going on. I just kind of wanted to do it. I didn't want anybody really, like, trying to text me, bother me, influence me this way or the other way. That's why I just kind of stayed off social media completely. Didn't do any interviews or anything like that. Didn't post any offers, nothing like that. But no, like, it was pretty hectic at first, Like I said, I kind of heard everybody out the first 2-3 days, and then after that, I kind of started shortening my list and going and really looking into the schools that I really wanted to go. And at the end of the day, I just felt like TCU offered the most and the best for what I was looking for and for what I wanted. I felt like family right whenever I got there. They showed me they're going to use me and all this stuff, and I just felt like it was the right place. And so. Man,
I'm excited for you. Just a couple more questions before you go. Nothing crazy, but I want you to talk a little bit, because you're about to have to go through basically the same thing that you went through this year at LSU, in the sense of when you got here, when you were here this year, you had a whole new offensive scheme. You had a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback. So you had to build that chemistry, and you had to learn how.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. It's about to be 3 years in a row.
It's about to be 3 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's what I want to get to. Like, how hard is that to build that chemistry with a quarterback? Because, the quarterback and receiver position is such a feel position. You have to be able to know the guy you're throwing to, know what they're supposed to do, know when they're going to come out of their breaks, know when they're going to try to ad-lib. And, when you don't have a lot of time with a guy like that, especially when you're trying to learn and assimilate to a new offense, how hard is that to do? And, how much of these last 2 years going to help you moving forward at TCU and trying to, acclimate to a new scheme again?
Yeah, no, this is a pretty short answer. I mean, it is what it is, really. It is what it is. And then at the end of the day, it's how bad you want it and how hard you want to work with, like you said, the QB. So, I mean, my plan is to get up there, throw as much as possible throughout the whole spring workouts, spring ball, summer, and, whenever we get to the next fall, the beginning of the 23 season, I want it to look like I've known whoever the QB is going to be. I want it to look like we've been playing together and we've known each other for our whole life. That's my goal. That's my plan. I know we're going to want to do it, and I know we will do it. So,
I love that. I guess that you answered my question, but I guess the way you build that is to just have reps with the quarterback in the offseason and just,
you just got to get after it.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. You're not going to get better if you don't work. So, I mean, like I said, I'm ready to give my all. I'm ready to work day in, day out, and become the best version of myself possible.
Well, man, you always have a fan in me. You have a fan, I'm assuming, in Lloyd. Right, Lloyd? You're a fan
hell
of his?
no,
Yes.
He fucking left. I'm kidding, dude. Best of luck at TCU,
No, man.
We're all looking for
you. We're following you. I love Dallas. I go to Dallas quite a bit, so hopefully I can come out there and watch a game. I'll maybe texting you for some tickets next time I go out there. But man, I'm looking forward to seeing you ball out next year. It's been a pleasure watching you at LSU. I can't wait to watch you at TCU and hopefully in the NFL after that, man. I appreciate you coming on. And we'll stay in touch, bro. Good luck.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on. And I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you. Merry Christmas.
Definitely.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.